the h.e.r.LIFE Blogcast. I'm your host, Rachel Malik, and I'm here with a very special guest, Alyssa Marsh. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello.
I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Give me a rundown, how are you feeling in this moment? That we're going to get into all of the craziness that is happening in your personal, specifically to you and also to America and within the league that you're in. There's a lot going on for you. So how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I think it's as well as it can be right now. I'm definitely, I don't know if your viewers know, but I'm overseas. So being overseas right now is super strange and weird, being a little bit disconnected from things going on in the US. But I'd say for what we have going on, I'm doing pretty well.
I'm glad to hear it. That's good. I think it's just a matter of focusing on the positives where you find them. And you obviously have a lot of wonderful, fulfilling things going on in your life, which we're going to talk about. So I think focusing on that is the highlight for us today. So let's dive into that. First of all, you mentioned you're overseas. You're in Budapest right now with the International Swim League in a bubble situation. Talk me through it. How is that? It's got to be different than anything I can experience or anything you've done before, right?
Yes, it's super interesting. I mean, basically, I had been not super connected with the swimming world for a couple of months, which is different for me. Mm-hmm. And getting here, meeting up with people in the airport with masks on and everything was super crazy. And then right as we arrived to Budapest in the hotel, we immediately get a COVID test. We go up to our room without any interaction, and we stay in our room until our test results get back. And then since then we have been we stay on an island that's in the middle of a river, and we are free to roam the island in our masks, but beyond that it's stay in the hotel or be in the pool or be in the gym. But I'd say it's, I have a job, so for me it's a perfect place to focus and focus on swimming and focus on my job. So for me, it works really well. I'd say other people, it's, sometimes boredom can hit hard, but it feels safe. It feels secure. So it's been good.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I think that's interesting what you said about having the time to really focus, and the fact that you have two different areas of focus right now is probably a very helpful thing, so that you can kind of bounce back and forth and have that balance in your life. So let's dive into that. What is your job? And we'll start there, and then I have a million questions.
Okay. So I am a high school special ed focused teacher, and I am out of New Orleans. So I help out. I have a caseload of a couple, 20 or so kids, and then I help those kids in their English classes specifically as well. So I jump on Zoom during the school hours and a little bit after for meetings and parent meetings, catching everyone up. Right now it's crazy. It's crazy being a first year teacher in this world, but yeah, that's what I do.
I love that. So talk to me. I mean, I feel like you're not that far, you and I are the same age, right? How old are you, 22?
I'm 23.
23. Okay. So not too far out of high school. So how is, obviously we went through all of college and everything, but how is it being back in that environment now, having all these years of college under your belt, but kind of just being cycled back into that environment, but obviously on Zoom? It's got to be different, but I'm curious how that just
yeah, very strange. I mean, I in some cases I'm oh my goodness, I kind of feel like I'm y'all's age, I could be your friend, but I also know that I'm here to help them reach their goals academically and what they don't think that they could have done. So it's definitely feels like a lot of pressure as a young person, but also I had so much growth in my college years that I do feel like a different person. I feel like I value education and learning so much more than I did in the past. So it's cool to give back.
Totally. And to have that experience, I think it would be so cool, thinking back to my high school self, to have a teacher who's younger and who gets it more than, you know what I mean? I think that would be so fun, especially in the Zoom world where you got used to being educated that way for at least a small time. So
yeah,
it's cool to be able to have that experience and then bring it back, like you said, kind of pay it forward in the way that you are. So thank you for doing that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your college. So you graduated from Duke, right? Just in 2020. So
yes.
What a weird graduation. Any word on what they're going to do with graduation? I'm sure everything's still up in the air as it is everywhere.
Yeah, I haven't gotten much communication since like our weird virtual like celebration. I don't know. It was, they didn't call it graduation because they did say that they really want to have an
Okay.
in-person graduation for us. I don't know like when that's going to be. Like
Yeah.
every month I feel like it's just keeps, you know,
I
getting
know.
worse. But like I'm not too worried about it. Like I think it'll be fun to go, you know, have a little reunion when everything's settled
Totally.
with COVID. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but no word on when that is.
Yeah, well, again, fingers crossed. But I think you're right. I think there's going to be a cool reunion kind of vibe when it does happen, and it's going to be an even bigger celebration than it would have been in the first place, right? Because we're like really
Yeah.
going through it in the meantime. Let's talk about, what did you study at Duke? What did you study, and why did you choose that?
Yeah, I was a political science major and a psychology minor. I was super undecided going into school. I knew I didn't want to do anything with like math or necessarily like science or whatever, engineering. But beyond that, there's so many options for me. I've always been interested in like politics and government and all that stuff. So I started taking classes. I ended up really liking the structure of the major. And that's why sort of I decided on political science. And psychology is just so cool, like getting in, you know, the human brain, figuring out how it works. So
Yeah.
mhm.
And what an interesting time to be able to apply all that you have studied. I mean, talk about the weirdest political climate America has ever seen. And I'm sure you can get into a lot of psychology for why people are reacting the way that they are, one in quarantine and one in this political climate. So, how has it been, one, experiencing that with all the knowledge that you now have as a Duke grad, but also being kind of removed from America because you're away and overseas? What is that like? I can't
Yeah,
even imagine.
I definitely think like it's good to know how much I need to consume as a human to like like be able to be informed, but also have like good mental health and like not be, you know, worrying about things you know, like crazy. I'm luckily in a great position like as a human that either way, like I'll like I'm so fortunate basically is what I'm trying to say. So what I can do to help others is like most important to me. And I'd say like as a political science major, um there it isn't like affected me like crazy with, because I like more the local stuff, that kind of world. So that's been cool. It was really cool to vote with a lot of more knowledge on that side of things. But um, I'd say being removed from the US has been, I would say, a good thing for right now. I'm happy to like decide when I want to engage with what's going on because it's out of my hands at this point. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just, I don't know, it's such a weird time. I think regardless of where you are, it's like just strange to process. Nobody really knows what to do, but I think like, I'm kind of like, hey, that doesn't sound half bad, being away and just kind of throwing your hands up, like, it is what it is. You voted, you did what
Yeah.
you do. And now we wait. Yeah, as of now, as we're recording, we still don't know what happened, which is just
Hmm.
a strange position to be in because we've never seen anything like it in our lifetimes. But I don't know. It seems like you're doing well. I think
Yeah.
what you said about the mental health and the balance of it all, consumption is a big aspect of it. So it's good that you're very aligned with the balance, and I love that for you. I'm so I'm just happy that you're doing well. Um,
Thanks.
I feel like I'm bouncing back and forth, but I'm just so like curious about all of this stuff. So let's go back to swimming for a second. I'm sure you started swimming very young. Talk me through maybe how your relationship to the sport has changed throughout your career, and now how you've adjusted your expectations to get you to this position, because I'm sure you didn't ever anticipate being in a bubble at this
Yeah.
stage of your swimming career. So what is that like, adjusting your expectations?
Yeah, so my swimming career has been pretty, I don't know, everyone's is different. Everyone's is crazy in its own way. I started off young, but I balanced with gymnastics. I did gymnastics till I was about 13, until, you know, I decided to commit fully to swimming. Both of my parents are swim coaches. My dad was the 2016 head Olympic coach for the women's team, and my mom is like an amazing coach in her own regard. And they're both here with me in Budapest, which is very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up, like it's been my whole world. Like literally every aspect of my family's life kind of revolves around swimming. And like my relationship has shifted. It's actually always been sort of like just a balance. I chose Duke because I felt like it was the best place for me to be, you know, a student and an athlete and a person that has friends, because that's just kind of who I am and what I want in relationship to with swimming to be. I've never been like someone who's just fully been very like intense about it, which has worked for me so far, and like I still love it and I'm still doing it right now, and I'm so grateful that, like, you know, through all the craziness and through all the of online learning and online teaching, it has given me the opportunity to continue to swim and continue to train and compete here in Budapest. So it's I would say it's been a wild ride. Things have not gone as expected, but yeah, I'm pleased with where it is now.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And you mentioned teaching again, so I want to dive into that a little bit. You are a part of Teach for America, right? That's your way in. So how did you decide on Teach for America, first of all?
Yeah, so it at Duke, it is historical. In the fall of your senior year, everything goes crazy and everyone is like, I need a job right now. Like, everyone's so into job hunting and making sure they're set up for after graduation and all that stuff. And I kind of just went with that vibe, and I went to a lot of job applications. I looked around. I wasn't necessarily feeling like I needed something right out of graduation, but that's sort of the expectation of the students that go there. So I had a friend that was doing Teach for America in New York City, and she had such great things to say about it. And then, you know, a recruiter started to talk to me. I had some meetings. I ended up, you know, feeling like I know I love coaching. I know that's something that I love, and it's in my blood. And when I was looking at teaching, I just felt like it was a good fit for me. And it's a 2-year program that you can either like continue to teach, or you can, you know, use what you've learned in whatever professional career you choose. So I felt like, you know, if I love it, I love it. And if I don't, I don't. But either way, I'm going to grow a lot as a person, and hopefully I help people in the process.
1,000%. Yeah, I think, and from what I understand about Teach for America, which isn't a lot, I didn't look into it much myself, but I have a good friend who's doing it in New York City, like you mentioned, and it just seems like beyond a full-time job. I think the time commitment, especially being a first-year teacher regardless, you're starting from scratch, you know what I mean, building lesson plans and doing all the behind the scenes that seasoned teachers kind of just have taken care of already. So to be thrown into it online as a first year teacher, being so fresh out of college and being halfway across the world, it is a ginormous feat. And I think you should be, I'm sure you got to be very proud of yourself. You have to be, because that's just such a phenomenal thing. So again, thank you for doing that. Talk about the time difference. How far is it? Because you're teaching in New Orleans, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where your
Yeah. So I forget what the exact amount of hours is, but if anyone wants to do the math, when I start work here, it's 3 p.m. and then there it's 8 a.m. So it's like, it works out really well, because I end my day around 10 or 11, and then get up for morning practice at like 8, which is totally doable, works well with my schedule. It just basically shifted my work day from being in the morning to in the afternoon.
Right. Okay, so that's good. You seem to have a really good handle on it. Have you always been a very structured person who loves like solid routine? I think in athletics you kind of have to be, even I'm sure swimming at Duke, like with classes, that's a rigorous academic life you had. So then to combine that with the athletics, how has that, is that just second nature at this point?
Yeah, I think it like that is something that I have definitely taken for granted in my whole life, because I've always had a very solid routine. I go to practice, I go to school, I go to practice again, I eat, go to sleep, and that's just kind of like been my life. But it's it works for me. It works for my lifestyle, and I feel like I'm a pretty go with the flow person. But luckily, so far, it's all been very structured for me. So I think continuing that in my adult life is something that I have been taking into consideration.
Yeah, I love that. How are you liking the teaching so far? Do you picture yourself doing this longer than the 2 years? It's early to say, but do you have a gut feeling either way?
Yeah, I definitely see myself doing it longer than 2 years. I don't know, beyond like my 20s or so, but it's definitely I want to see how it goes in person. I think that's probably when I'm going to get a more feel for it. Online, it's hard to like build community, like really get to know your students, all that stuff. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. So far it's going well. So that's why I'm optimistic for the future.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that sounds so great. I want to hear more. Keep us posted because I'm just curious how it's going to go for you. But it seems like you are very balanced, and I'm like taking notes as you're talking because it seems like you got it all together. I'm just happy for you.
It seems.
Oh, you're so fun. Okay, let's get into a couple quick little h.e.r.LIFE segments before we get into the final segment of our reflection. So just as a preface, every week we go through H, something we're happy about, E, something we're excited about, and R, a recent realization you might have had. So if that's all in the back of your mind as we go through this segment. I forgot to mention those before, I'm sorry. Okay. So kicking us off, we did the Killjoy Content series on the show. Is there anything you've been watching, reading, listening to that has challenged a previous belief or made you uncomfortable in some way, but has been ultimately very productive for your mental health or for your view of the world or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say the most recent thing I have consumed that's been like that has been The Social Dilemma on Netflix. I'm sure you've had people talk about that if you're asking this question, because it really just like, it brings to light what your media is doing and like how it works and how it functions. So I think it's good to like, and it's good to have these things. Like I don't think they're necessarily all negative, but it shows you just kind of a little bit behind the scenes, behind the curtain, what's like how things are being shown to you, and like just taking everything with a grain of salt, understanding that not to take everything as truth.
Yeah, totally. No, that's a good one. And definitely something we've talked about because once you watch that, I feel like you don't go back. Like your mindset is shifted. You're going to log onto Instagram differently after watching that. And that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Great answer on that one. Shifting gears now, let's do a little Talkin' Body segment. We had our Talkin' Body series talking about body image. As a swimmer, does anything stand out in terms of the world of body image? Maybe the way you consume pop culture, has anything stuck out? What are your main takeaways maybe as you've grown up in the world we live in?
Yeah. So something that I think was very positive in my high school, like forming age, was that I had a really strong group of girls around me in high school and my club team. Some of them are still here in ISL with me, like doing swimming still, which is amazing. But we loved working out. We loved lifting. We loved being strong, like loved our muscles. I feel like when I went to college, that was something that I didn't realize female athletes didn't love about themselves. And so that was definitely something that I wanted to like help my team at Duke own and be confident of. So I'd say like body image, that's where I'll get a little bit like lost. It's like, oh my gosh, I need more ripped abs or like toner arms or whatever. Like that's where like negatively it goes for me. But I would say I just like aspire to be as like strong and healthy for swimming, because it's like my body's not just like a visual thing for people to look at. It's like my vessel of athleticism.
No, definitely. That's a great point. Yeah. And I like that you kind of took that from one stage in your athletic career to the next. And again, we have this theme of paying it forward with you, which I absolutely love. Like, I feel like I need to go spread your message. I love it so much. Okay. Now let's shift gears to the celebrity dinner party. We just had our empowerment edition episode where me and all my guests picked empowering public figures who we'd invite to a hypothetical dinner party. Who would be your guest and why are they so inspiring to you or interesting to you? Hit me.
Yeah, so one of my favorite people in the whole world, and I dream of meeting this person one day, is Jack Johnson. He's from Hawaii. He's a singer, and he's also just like an activist for so many things, especially like for the environment. And that's just something that I think he does it in such a place of like love and not just from yelling at people, but he just like, I don't know, he has amazing music, first of all, but it all comes from such a great, deep place. And I'd love to have him invited to a dinner party. That would be a dream.
Such a good conversation. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like often when we talk about this, the celebrity dinner party thing, I'm like, I don't even know if I need to be there. I just want to watch it, like, as a fly on the wall. Like, I just want to see what he would say to a group full of people. You know what I mean? That is such a good pick. Oh, I love that pick.
Yeah. I already feel like I'm friends with him, so it doesn't really, like, I feel like I would just be like, hey, what's up? Like, just have a normal conversation.
Oh, I love that. What a good pick. Okay, the only other thing I have for you is a general content catch-up. Anything else? We talked about Killjoy and we talked about, the social dilemma, but anything else maybe not so heavy that you've been watching, reading, listening to just for fun, just to escape?
Yeah.
Anything like that?
So here when I kind of need to, like, brain off, just, like, melt into my bed or couch or whatever, I've been watching Suits. I've never seen it before. It's like I don't know when it started or when it ended, but, like, I have been enjoying that. And it's like, I've definitely binged that a bit.
Yes, where Meghan Markle got her start.
Yes. I'm like, this is weird.
Yes, that's why I watched the first time and I remember watching it and I was like, oh my, it's just so funny to see her in that sphere. You know, before she was Meghan Markle. It's just insane to watch. Oh, such a good show though. That's a good binge. You love a good binge watch just to get your mind off of everything.
Yeah.
It deserves that.
You work pretty hard, so might as well just, like, take a moment.
Oh my God, I love that. And you're a Great British Bake Off fan, yes?
Yes. So, like, I wouldn't, like, I'm not a diehard, but when I watch it, I watch the whole season, and it's like, and it really just, again, you could just melt into the couch, be happy.
For sure. That's the thing. You can't be sad when you're watching the Great British Bake Off. It is so heartwarming. That's the only word. Let me ask you a question though. Have you been watching seasons like back when it was Paul and Mary or the new season?
I've watched 3 whole seasons. So I've watched, like, 1 Paul and Mary and then, like, 2 of the other ones. And they've both been okay.
I was expecting myself to hate the new version, and even without Mel and Sue, I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate this, but honestly, I embrace it. The show is still the same, and I am so here for it. I love watching it over the holidays. I have, like, such vivid memories of being home from school over the holidays, and we just binge seasons like you're talking about. It's so good. I'm so glad you're a fan.
Yes.
Okay, I love it. Let's wrap up then with the reflections segment. We'll start off with happy. What are you happy about in this moment?
I would say in this moment, I'm very happy that I have both of my parents here in this crazy Budapest bubble. I think it would have been a little bit lonely, a little bit, like, harder to get through, even though it's fun and stuff. But having 2 people that I, can just really be myself with fully is awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm happy. I was going to ask about family because I'm sure that shifts the dynamic a lot. So it's good that there is that realm of normalcy and, lucky that they're able to be there. That's just wonderful. I'm glad that that worked out for you. What about excited? What are we excited about for the future?
I'd say I'm excited to get to teach in person and really get to meet the kids that I've been interacting with on Zoom thus far. That's what I'm, like, really excited about going forward.
When does the bubble end? Like, when are you heading back to the States?
Yeah, so I'm going to head back a little bit early, but it'll be within the next week or 2.
Okay.
And then from there, I get to meet some kids on, like, 1 day a week when I go in for hybrid model. But what I'm excited about is, like, when it goes to in-person teaching.
Totally. Yeah, I think that'll be a big shift. And then having this under your belt will only aid that process, and I'm sure you'll just get more and more comfortable. So that'll be a nice transition to witness.
Yeah.
And then finally, a recent realization. This one's always deeper. I'm always like, okay, now quick, what did you realize recently? But I feel like there's a lot of things to go off. Just so much is happening. So anything you've realized that's kind of been a perspective shift, either teaching-wise, politics-wise, anything that's shifted your perspective in some way?
Yeah, it's definitely a hard one because I feel like I've been in a very similar routine recently. But that, like what we talked about earlier, just for me personally, I didn't realize how important, that's actually a good thing to say, routine is in my life. Like here, I'd say when I was in New Orleans at the beginning of my teaching before this, I wasn't in a very good, like, healthy routine where I would, not necessarily not healthy, but, like, it wasn't every day I knew when I was going to do this. Every day was, like, different. Yeah. And that kind of was something that I realized doesn't make me happy. So coming here, it's very routine. So, yeah, that's for me, that's a realization for myself.
Totally. Okay, no, great answers. You hit that well. I feel like I always have to think about them, and I really just sprung them on you, and you are very good at this. I'm so happy to have you here. Just to wrap up, so what's like the final? Is there any big competition, any meet? Like what's upcoming in the next couple of weeks? Any like major thing that you're looking forward to and we can root for you through?
Yeah, so on Monday and Tuesday, I forget the exact like dates, but we have our final like preseason meet or match, I guess is what they're calling them. And then we head into the semifinals. I think we already have enough points to like qualify for that for the next for our competition. So in about 2 weeks we have our semifinals, and that's going to be like the LA Current. Sorry, I haven't been showing this. The LA Currents. Like that's where we're gonna have to really push to get into the finals this year. So I'm excited that I'll be able to compete in both of those meets and see what we can do.
Yes. Okay. Well, obviously everyone here at h.e.r.LIFE is rooting for you. Absolutely. It has been such a pleasure chatting with you today. I think this has been so fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here and for accommodating. I mean, like we said, your schedule is crazy. So the fact that you sit down means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, cool. Signing off, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm Rachel Malik. This has been the h.e.r.LIFE Blogcast.